This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 291, How to Fire Up a Fading Passion by Jaksch of GoodLifeZen.com.
Get ready to maximize your potential with Optimal Living Daily, the podcast that brings you the best in personal development and productivity every day of the week. Your optimal life awaits. Now here's your host, Justin Malik.
What's going on, Life Optimizer? Happy Tuesday and welcome back to Optimal Living Daily, the podcast, blogcast, audio blog, and occasional audiobook where I read the best content I can find to help you optimize your life with author permission. I've been sick this last week, but I'm finally recording in my usual spot, although I might still sound a little congested, so bear with me. And before we get into today's post, I am lucky enough to have FreshBooks sponsor today's episode, and they're a cloud accounting software that I use myself. Come check out all their features for free for a month without entering a credit card. Come by freshbooks.com/living to get your trial and put Optimal Living Daily in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Now let's get right to today's post on passion, or losing that passion, and start optimizing your life. How to Fire Up a Fading Passion by Jaksch of GoodLifeZen.com. There are times when we start something new and we love every moment of it. We're so excited, we love to spend most of our time doing whatever it is we enjoy so much. And then one day, the gloss is off. Suddenly, the best thing ever has turned into a chore. Has that ever happened to you? I bet it has. It's as if we fall out of love with something. Maybe you got a fantastic job, but after a year or two, it becomes a drag. Or maybe you started a consuming new hobby and then suddenly lose interest. It can be distressing when you suddenly notice that you're not enjoying your special job or special activity anymore. Here's what happened to me. When I did my master's in religious studies a few years ago, I was totally fired up to begin with. I loved researching and writing papers, finding out new things, especially about Zen history, and really tuning up my brain. The first of the 3 years was great. The second got harder, and the last year was a grind. However, I managed to throw the switch towards the end and got happily absorbed with writing my thesis. The good news is that there are ways of firing up a fading passion. It's like being in a long relationship. After the honeymoon period comes to a kind of disenchantment, and then the real work of building a happy and lasting relationship begins. How to regain your enthusiasm. There are 5 simple ways to fire up your enthusiasm. Number 1, keep a gratitude diary. Remember how it was when you first started? You can see what a wonderful opportunity it was for you, and how it would make you grow and develop. A gratitude journal can bring back that initial passion back to life again. A good way to use it is to write in your journal for 10 minutes each day. Focus on the area in which you want to rekindle your passion, and write down everything about the activity that you can be grateful for. Number 2, find out what irks you. If you look carefully at what it is about the activity that triggers negative thoughts, you can set some changes into motion. Are you stressed out? Do you need people to help you? Is there somebody you are in conflict with? All these things can erode passion. Number 3, ask for help. Do you feel burdened with too much responsibility? If that gets you down, ask for help. Maybe you can share a task with a colleague or spread the load of responsibility so that others share it. Number 4, let go of negative thoughts. Negative self-talk can erode passion. Whenever you notice that you're indulging in negative thoughts, pull yourself up. Say to yourself, I let go. You'll notice that this becomes easier the more you practice letting go of negative thoughts. I find it useful to think of difficulties as challenges. Number 5, talk with a friend. The temptation when talking with a friend is to complain. A better way is to start off with all the things that you cherish about the activity and everything about it that you are grateful for. After you've done that, list the challenges. Number 6, remember the 90-10 rule. When I was struggling to complete my master's in religious studies a couple of years ago, my head tutor said to me, quote, Mary, try to be one of the 10% that finish. In my experience, 90% do the first 10% of any given task. But when it gets to the last 10% of a task, only 10% actually complete it, unquote. Afterwards, I was determined to be one of the few who finish. Number 7, become absorbed. The way I managed to rekindle my passion for my master's program was by allowing myself to become absorbed. Try doing the reverse from what you're doing at the moment. The more you distance yourself from your activity, the more it'll feel like a chore. The more energy you put into it, the more energized and passionate you will feel. Most importantly, don't beat yourself up when you feel your passion waning. It's entirely natural. All natural systems ebb and flow. Nothing stays constant. When our first burst of passion wanes, we have the chance of developing a deeper and more fulfilling way of relating. What's your experience of rekindling passion? You just listened to the post titled How to Fire Up a Fading Passion by Mary Jaksch of GoLifeZen.com. And I related to this big time. I struggle with passion kind of fading in and out with this podcast all the time. When I get nice feedback or find someone to sponsor a few episodes, then I get pumped back up again because I feel like what I'm creating is adding value. And I hear from you, which is amazing. And when the podcast is growing, it's all good things. But the work involved, oh man, it's a lot. It's funny because people hear things like, I work from home or I'm an entrepreneur. And somehow that gets interpreted as I do whatever I want, which is not a lot. And this can be true. That's been coined to entrepreneurs. I've been there myself. But man, when you're doing something consistently that requires a lot of work for very little or no money, it's easy to burn out. So yeah, this post was a nice little refresher for me. And luckily I do have a sponsor for this episode, which helps cover the hole I've dug with funding these 3 podcasts. So big thanks to FreshBooks for believing in this podcast. It's a good match because I believe in their product. I have hated, strong word, but that's the only word that's coming to me at the moment, using other accounting software because it's been way too complicated to do the most basic things. For example, invoicing. All I want to do is put in what the invoice is for, the amount, and who it goes to. Maybe my logo on it if I want to be special and a couple of notes. And if you're a small business owner or freelancer or have invoiced people, then you probably are like me and have tried other popular solutions and found that it's pretty ridiculous how complicated it is. With FreshBooks, it took me about 30 seconds. And without doing anything extra, I got to see when the invoice was viewed, when it was paid, and it can automatically send late payment reminders. No downloading of anything, no printing unless you want to, and no emailing even. It was sent right through their system, and that's just one tiny aspect of their software. I haven't even mentioned expense tracking and more. You can check out all of their features for free for a month, no credit card required. Just visit freshbooks.com/living and put Optimal Living Daily in the How Did You Hear About Us section. And I think I'll leave it there for today. Have a happy day, and I'll see you tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.
Hey, this is Dan from the Optimal Finance Daily podcast, which is a lot like this show, except more focused on personal finance. Justin handpicks the best posts he can find from blogs and authors like Ramit Sethi, Mr. Money Mustache, and more, and I read them to you 5 days a week. So if you enjoy this podcast, come on over and subscribe to Optimal Finance Daily too. And together, we'll optimize your financial life.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.